Introduction to near-death experiences. Near-death experiences are profound, often life-changing encounters that people report having when they are close to death, or in situations where their physical existence is severely threatened. While the details of these experiences vary widely from person to person, many individuals describe encountering extraordinary phenomena that defy conventional understanding. NDEs can challenge our perceptions of life, death, and consciousness itself. In the following sections, we explore the most frequently asked questions about NDEs, drawing from thousands of personal testimonies and deep research into the phenomena. These answers aim to provide clarity on what people experience during an NDE, how these experiences impact their views on life and death, and how they can often lead to lasting changes in their perspectives and behavior. By delving into the mysteries of NDEs, we hope to offer a broader understanding of this remarkable phenomenon and its potential to inspire profound personal growth, healing, and transformation. 1. What is a near-death experience like? A near-death experience is often described not only as a vivid and coherent episode, but as a reality that surpasses ordinary consciousness. Experiencers frequently emphasize that the NDE felt more real than real, with heightened perception, profound clarity, and a sense of absolute truth. Despite wide variation in the details, there is a consistent core of phenomena that repeat across cultures, religions, and belief systems. The experience typically begins with a sudden detachment from the physical body. People often report floating above their own body, seeing their surroundings, including medical personnel, loved ones, or the scene of an accident, with extraordinary clarity and perspective. They may hear conversations or see events that they later verify as accurate, even when they were clinically unconscious. This awareness is accompanied by a complete absence of physical pain, replaced by feelings of serenity, neutrality, or even euphoria. As the NDE progresses, many describe traveling through a dark tunnel, void, or expansive space. This stage may feel like a journey or transition, and rather than fear, it's often marked by calmness and anticipation. At the end of this space, people frequently encounter a radiant light. However, this light isn't just bright, it is conscious. It is often perceived as a living presence of pure love and understanding, overwhelming yet non-judgmental, familiar yet beyond words. Some identify it as God, the source, or simply home. Encounters with beings or entities often follow. These can be deceased relatives, spiritual guides, or abstract presences made of light. Communication is described as telepathic, immediate, and complete, more like direct knowing than the exchange of words. The content of these interactions ranges from reassurance to revelations about universal truths or personal missions. One of the most profound aspects is the life review. It is not a judgment imposed by another, but a self-realized confrontation with one's own choices. People relive moments from their lives, not only from their own perspective, but from the emotional and experiential view of others affected by their actions. Even small acts of kindness or cruelty are felt fully. This process often instills deep empathy and a reevaluation of values. Another unique feature is the alteration or collapse of time. Seconds on Earth can stretch into what feels like hours, or even eternity in the NDE. In this state, many describe timelessness, a realm where past, present, and future exist simultaneously or become irrelevant. Sensory perceptions are also radically transformed. Colors are often described as not existing on Earth, sounds as celestial or multidimensional, and vision as 360 degrees or even omnidirectional. Some report perceiving structures, landscapes, or realms of beauty and significance that defy earthly categories. Returning to the body is frequently the most difficult part. The body can feel heavy, limited, or even alien. The soul's re-entry is sometimes described as being sucked back, and many feel a deep sense of loss or grief upon separation from the light. Despite this, most return with a profound sense of purpose, inner peace, and a reduced fear of death. In essence, while an NDE may begin in crisis, it often becomes a gateway to a spiritual awakening. What people experience in these moments has lasting effects on their worldview, relationships, and understanding of existence. It is a journey that transcends belief systems and invites us to reconsider what it means to be alive, to love, and to be part of something greater. 2. How does time perception change during an NDE? One of the most consistently reported, and yet most mystifying aspects of a near-death experience is the radical alteration of time perception. In the NDE state, linear time, as we understand it in waking consciousness, either stretches, collapses, or disappears altogether. This transformation is not simply about subjective distortion, as one might feel in a dream, but a complete reorientation to the nature of time itself. Many experiencers describe being clinically dead or unconscious for just a few minutes, sometimes even seconds, yet experiencing what felt like days, weeks, years, or even timeless eternity. For instance, individuals who were declared clinically dead for 6 or 7 minutes often report detailed journeys through otherworldly landscapes, interactions with numerous beings, or extended episodes of learning, healing, and emotional transformation. One person described living a whole other life during just 7 minutes of cardiac arrest, while another claimed to have experienced what felt like centuries of existence, without the constraints of memory loss or time decay. A frequent observation is that in the NDE realm, all moments seem to coexist. Past, present, and future can be accessed simultaneously, or as one experiencer put it, "I wasn't in time anymore, time was in me." This paradoxical statement reflects the sense that consciousness expands beyond the sequential flow of events and enters a domain where everything simply is. This timeless dimension is often described as a realm of instant knowing. Questions are answered before they are asked. Insights come fully formed, not through reasoning, but through direct revelation. Some describe this as being in contact with a universal knowledge field, where information isn't learned but remembered. This might relate to ancient spiritual concepts of the Akashic records, the collective unconscious, or the higher self, but the experiencers often feel this insight transcends all philosophical systems. This alteration in temporal experience doesn't end when the NDE concludes. Upon returning to the body, many people report intense difficulty in reintegrating into linear time. The rigidity of clocks, schedules, and earthly planning can feel artificial or oppressive. Some become more intuitive in their approach to life, trusting a deeper rhythm beyond the ticking of seconds and hours. There are also reports of prophetic or precognitive visions during the NDE, often embedded within the nonlinear flow of time. These might involve personal futures, global events, or symbolic messages about the collective human journey. Whether these are fixed or potential outcomes is often left ambiguous, but many experiencers feel they are shown future possibilities, not guarantees. Importantly, these temporal shifts challenge our understanding of consciousness itself. The idea that awareness could exist, and even expand, independent of brain activity and outside of time calls into question the materialist view of the mind. Many researchers point to this as one of the strongest philosophical implications of NDEs, that consciousness may be non-local and eternal. In summary, Time in an NDE is not merely stretched, it is transformed. Experiencers describe entering a state where time no longer governs reality, where the soul exists in a field of infinite now, and where spiritual truths are absorbed without delay or confusion. This altered perception of time is often one of the most difficult aspects to explain, but also one of the most transformative to live with afterward. It leaves the person forever changed, deeply aware that what we call time may just be a shadow of a greater cosmic reality. 3. What is a life review experience during an NDE? The life review is one of the most consistently reported and profoundly moving components of near-death experiences. It is not just a memory flashback, but a fully immersive re-experiencing of one's life, often with incredible detail, emotional depth, and expanded awareness. In this process, individuals do not merely see what they've done, they feel the ripple effects of their actions, both great and small, across time and relationships. Most NDEs describe the life review as panoramic, their entire life unfolding before them in a vivid multidimensional display. However, it is not experienced passively. People describe becoming every person they have affected, feeling both joy and sorrow, kindness and harm, from the perspective of the other. For example, if one shouted at someone in anger, they now feel what that other person felt at the moment: hurt, confusion, or fear. On the other hand, a kind word or gesture is relived as a wave of warmth, or healing through the other person's emotional field. Crucially, the review is often experienced outside of ordinary time. Moments can be expanded, paused, or explored in depth. One might spend what feels like hours reviewing a few seconds from childhood, or revisit a single moment repeatedly from multiple angles and viewpoints. And yet, to an outside observer, this life review might occur within just a few minutes of clinical death. Another striking detail is that the review seems to be guided, but not judged. Some report the presence of a being of light, a spiritual guide, or even their higher self who accompanies them through the process, not to condemn, but to help them understand. The purpose is not punishment, but growth, a learning experience designed to reveal the true essence of one's choices and their impact on the web of life. Some experiencers are shown moments they had forgotten, seemingly trivial events that turn out to have significant spiritual meaning. A simple act of kindness to a stranger, a moment of compassion to a child, or even thoughts and intentions left unspoken. All of these are remembered and felt in the field of universal awareness. These moments are often revealed to carry more weight than public achievements or material success. A less common but notable variation is the expanded life review, where individuals not only experience their own past, but gain insight into the lives of others involved in key events, understanding their motivations, struggles, or pain. This leads to deep forgiveness, empathy, and emotional healing, especially in cases involving conflict or trauma. In some cases, individuals are also shown potential futures, what could happen based on current patterns or choices. These aren't shown as fixed destinies, but as paths that the soul might take. Some interpret this as a spiritual encouragement to live more consciously and lovingly upon return. The life review can be a catalyst for profound personal transformation. Many people return from it with a clear sense of life's interconnectedness and the realization that every thought, word, and action matters. The small things, how we treat others when no one is watching, the energy behind our intentions, are revealed to be the true spiritual curriculum of life. In sum, the life review is not about judgment from above, it's the soul coming face to face with itself. It brings clarity, accountability, and deep understanding, not from guilt, but from love. It invites us to live not in fear of cosmic consequence, but in alignment with the truth that we are all connected, and that what we do to others, we ultimately do to ourselves. 4. Do people encounter beings or entities during NDEs? Yes, encounters with beings or entities are one of the most common and emotionally powerful aspects of near-death experiences. These beings are rarely perceived as random or impersonal. Rather, they are often described as deeply familiar, intensely loving, and sometimes far beyond human comprehension. The forms they take vary widely, but the experiences themselves are often so vivid and emotionally charged that many experiencers are more affected by these encounters than any other aspect of the NDE. The most frequently reported entities are deceased loved ones. These figures are typically recognized immediately, not necessarily by appearance, but by their energy, presence, or even a kind of telepathic knowing. These loved ones often serve as a welcome committee, greeting the soul as it transitions from physical life. There is rarely verbal communication in the traditional sense. Rather, thoughts, emotions, and understanding flow instantaneously between beings, pure communication without words. These reunions are filled with warmth, joy, and sometimes even humor, reflecting deep emotional connections that persist beyond death. Others encounter what they describe as spirit guides, angels, or beings of light. These entities often emanate an overwhelming sense of unconditional love, wisdom, and peace. They may not have distinct features, but are perceived as glowing, radiant, or even made of pure consciousness. Some refer to them as guardian beings or teachers, who appear to provide comfort, orientation, or insights into the meaning of life and death. Communication with these beings often results in profound shifts in understanding, a sense of cosmic belonging, or a deeper awareness of spiritual truths. There are also less conventional encounters reported. Some experiencers describe meeting beings from other dimensions, civilizations, or planes of existence. These beings are often not humanoid in form, but are recognized by their vibrational frequency, emotional resonance, or symbolic qualities. For instance, some have described meeting beings of geometric light, or entities that seem to represent archetypal forces of nature or the universe. While these accounts are rarer, they're consistent in the sense of conveying a universe rich with intelligent, interconnected life beyond the human realm. Interestingly, not all encounters are limited to individual beings. Some NDEs report entering what they describe as a collective consciousness, where they merge with countless other souls or intelligences, a communion beyond identity. This sense of becoming part of a loving unity is often reported as the most blissful and transformative moment of the entire experience. The purpose of these encounters varies. Some beings serve as guides, helping the soul process the life review or understand the spiritual context of their life. Others convey messages, sometimes personal, sometimes universal. In many cases, the beings offer the experiencer a choice, whether to return to life or remain in the spiritual realm. This choice is often not pressured, but gently guided with compassion and clarity. It's worth noting that people from vastly different cultures often report very similar encounters, though the interpretation or identity of the beings may be shaped by personal or religious background. A Christian might interpret the radiant being as Christ. A Hindu might perceive Krishna or Yama. An agnostic might call it a light being. What unifies these reports is the overwhelming presence of love, wisdom, and recognition, rather than specific religious dogma. In summary, encounters with beings or entities during an NDE are deeply meaningful and often life-changing. Whether seen as family, angels, guides, or universal intelligences, these beings reflect a multidimensional reality where consciousness exists beyond the physical form. They seem to remind us that we are never truly alone, and that in the deepest moments of transition, we are met not with judgment, but with profound understanding and unconditional love. 5. Can NDEs provide insights into past or future lives? Yes, while not present in every near-death experience, many individuals report gaining direct insight into what they interpret as past lives or potential future lives during their NDEs. These revelations are often deeply personal, emotionally intense, and spiritually transformative. They frequently occur spontaneously, without prompting, and are experienced as undeniably real, even by those who previously had no belief in reincarnation or spiritual continuity. Past life insights can emerge as vivid, fully immersive experiences. The individual may suddenly find themselves inhabiting the body, thoughts, and emotions of a person from another time, culture, or even species. These aren't vague impressions. They're often experienced as simultaneous memory and embodiment. One may feel the texture of the clothing, the sounds of the environment, the social dynamics of that era, or the deep emotional lessons learned in that life. In some accounts, experiencers relive multiple lifetimes in succession, or even all at once. One man described being thousands of people at once, experiencing their joys, regrets, deaths, and moments of spiritual awakening, all as facets of his greater soul. Another woman reported that she was shown a sequence of incarnations, each chosen to teach her specific lessons, such as humility, courage, compassion, or forgiveness. These experiences often come with the understanding that the soul is on a long journey of evolution, that each life is like a classroom, and that no experience, however painful or mundane, is wasted. Some NDEs speak of choosing their current life, including its difficulties before birth, in order to grow spiritually. This aligns with the idea of pre-birth planning, reported in many spiritually transformative experiences, where souls agree to specific circumstances to accelerate their development. Just as many experiencers are shown the past, some are granted glimpses into the future. These future life previews vary in nature. Some are deeply personal, while others are more collective or symbolic. One individual might be shown events from their future path, relationships, illnesses, breakthroughs, or moments of significance. These are rarely presented as fixed or inevitable, but more as probable outcomes based on current trajectories. Others report being shown the future of humanity or the planet. These experiences often include both ominous warnings and uplifting visions. Some speak of environmental crises, technological shifts, or spiritual awakenings. Many return with a profound sense that humanity is at a crossroads, and that individual and collective choices matter. These future glimpses are frequently delivered with a message of urgency, hope, and responsibility, rather than fear. In many cases, the experiencer is told that time is not linear in the way we think it is, that past, present, and future coexist in a larger spiritual context, and that the soul operates outside of earthly time. This ties into broader metaphysical concepts, including those found in Tibetan Buddhism, indigenous cosmologies, and quantum physics. Skeptics might ask whether these past lives, or future visions, are simply the brain's attempt to create meaning or stories under extreme stress. However, it's important to note that many experiencers return with verifiable knowledge, such as ancient languages they never studied, historical facts they later confirm, or insight into future events that later come to pass. These cases are rare but significant, and they continue to challenge purely materialist explanations. Ultimately, what unites these reports is the spiritual impact they leave. People return from NDEs with a deeper sense of their identity as eternal souls, part of a larger process of growth, and learning that transcends a single lifetime. They often lose their fear of death, become more compassionate, and feel a renewed sense of purpose rooted in love, service, and awareness. In summary, many near-death experiences include astonishing glimpses into past and potential future lives, offering a window into a multidimensional reality in which the soul journeys through many incarnations, always evolving, always learning, and always held within a greater divine intelligence. 6. How do NDEs affect an individual's perspective on death and life? For most people who undergo a near-death experience, life is never the same again. What they encounter during their brief crossing into the beyond, whether it's a realm of light, a life review, or an overwhelming presence of love, shatters old assumptions and creates a new, often irreversible relationship with both death and life. Fear of death diminishes or disappears entirely. Many NDEs return with a profound certainty that death is not an end, but a transition, a return to a state of origin, or to what some call the real home. This isn't based on belief or doctrine, but on direct experience. They've felt themselves separate from the body, and yet more fully alive than ever before. They've sensed the continuity of their consciousness. Because of this, death becomes less of a looming threat and more of a natural milestone in the journey of the soul. Some describe it like waking up from a dream, others like reuniting with a long-lost truth. As one experiencer put it, "It was as if I remembered something I had always known but had forgotten. I am not this body. I am eternal." This new understanding dramatically changes how they approach life. Life becomes infinitely more precious. When fear is removed from the equation, what rises in its place is often gratitude. The ordinary becomes sacred. The smallest interactions, smiling at a stranger, holding a child's hand, watching a sunset, are no longer taken for granted. NDEs frequently speak of feeling more present, more alive, and more attuned to beauty and meaning in everyday moments. They learn to savor life, not escape it. Priorities shift. Many return with a strong desire to live more authentically, to align their lives with what truly matters. Careers may change. Relationships are reevaluated. Some end toxic dynamics. Others reconnect with estranged loved ones. There's often a new urge to express love, to be of service, or to heal. The ego-driven pursuits of wealth, status, and control often lose their grip, replaced by a sense of purpose grounded in compassion, creativity, or contribution to others. The value of love becomes central. Time and again, experiencers report that love is the only thing that truly matters. This isn't just romantic or familial love, but a universal, unconditional force that connects all beings. Many return with the sense that we are all deeply connected, and that the way we treat each other is of cosmic significance. "The love you give is never lost," said one experiencer. "It's the only thing you take with you." Death becomes a teacher, not an enemy. Having met death and come back, many individuals adopt a daily practice of remembering mortality, not as morbid reflection, but as a way to live more consciously. They speak of making decisions from the heart, not from fear. Of asking daily, "If I only had one more day, would I spend it like this?" Emotional and psychological healing often follows. Some NDEs return free of long-standing depression, anxiety, or addictions. Others begin deep healing journeys, feeling newly empowered to face their trauma or inner wounds. The experience brings with it a profound sense of being seen, known, and loved, sometimes for the first time in their lives. This can trigger inner transformation that unfolds over months or years. Of course, not all NDE aftermaths are smooth. Some struggle to integrate what they've experienced, especially in a culture that doesn't always take such things seriously. But even those who go through periods of confusion or isolation often emerge with a stronger sense of identity and direction than before. In summary, NDEs often rewire a person's entire perspective, removing fear, elevating love, and inspiring a deeper, more meaningful approach to life. Death is no longer seen as a failure or an end, but as part of a larger design, and life becomes a precious opportunity to grow, give, and become more truly who we are. 7. Do NDEs suggest a purpose or meaning to life? Yes, one of the most consistent and profound messages emerging from thousands of near-death experiences is that life has a purpose, and every individual is here for a reason. What makes this message especially striking is that it arises across cultures, religions, and belief systems, including from those who had no spiritual beliefs prior to their experience. The most repeated insight is this: love is what matters most. Many NDEs return with the understanding that their purpose is not to achieve material success or social status, but to learn how to love, to support others, and to choose kindness even when it is difficult. Life is no longer viewed as a random or meaningless occurrence, but as a path for the soul to grow, heal, and remember its true nature. The life review often reinforces this understanding. During this experience, individuals not only re-experience events from their lives, but feel them through the hearts of others they affected. They feel the joy they brought, and also the pain they caused, as if they were both the giver and the receiver. Through this, many come to understand that every action, thought, and word matters deeply and contributes to a greater web of connection. Many NDEs report that we choose our lives before birth. They describe being in a pre-birth realm, often with guides or higher beings, where they reviewed different potential lifetimes, including families, bodies, challenges, and even struggles. These were not seen as punishments or accidents, but as opportunities for growth and evolution. Difficult circumstances were often chosen to develop qualities like compassion, forgiveness, or resilience. The meaning of life is often described in 3 interconnected layers. 1. Personal soul growth, learning, healing, remembering who we are beyond the ego. 2. Connection to others, how we love, support, and treat one another. 3. Contribution or service, the unique ways we bring light to the world through our gifts, presence, or actions. This is not just an abstract sense of purpose, it's grounded in the small details of daily life. One experiencer shared that the most important moment of their life, shown during the life review, wasn't a big achievement, but giving a sandwich to a hungry classmate in school. Another realized that their soul's purpose wasn't a job title, but to be a presence of love in other people's lives. Many return with the understanding that life is a kind of soul school, a place to practice love in action. Death is not seen as a failure or the end, but as a return to our original state. Earthly life becomes a precious opportunity to grow in ways that are not possible outside of a physical, time-bound reality. Even suffering is reframed, not as something to avoid at all costs, but as a meaningful part of the soul's journey. Some NDEs express that the ultimate purpose is to complete the cycle of reincarnation and evolve toward a higher state of being, a return to unity or divine source. In that process, love, learning, and healing are the core elements of the soul's progression. In summary, NDEs often reveal a powerful sense that life is not random, but rich with meaning. The real purpose of life isn't found in possessions or accomplishments, but in how we live, how we love, and how we grow. Every soul matters. Every life has a purpose. And the choices we make, especially those made in love, ripple far beyond what we can imagine. 8. Are there any practical changes in daily life that often result from an NDE? Yes, near-death experiences often bring profound and lasting changes to how people live their day-to-day lives. Many experiencers describe their NDE as a turning point that permanently reshaped their values, priorities, and worldview. These are not just abstract realizations. They manifest as practical shifts in behavior, relationships, career paths, and even personality. One of the most immediate and common changes is a deeper appreciation for life. People often say they return with an intense sense of gratitude for simply being alive, for the beauty of nature, the miracle of human connection, and the small joys of daily existence. Even ordinary moments, like watching a sunrise or holding a loved one's hand, take on profound significance. Life becomes a gift, not a burden. Fear of death is often diminished or entirely gone. After having experienced what they describe as a peaceful, loving, or even ecstatic state beyond the body, many NDEs no longer fear death. This doesn't mean they become reckless or wish to die. Rather, they stop seeing death as something to be dreaded. This shift often brings a deeper sense of calm and trust in the unfolding of life, even during challenges. Relationships and connection become more important than material goals. Many experiencers lose interest in competition, status, or material accumulation. Instead, they focus more on empathy, kindness, forgiveness, and presence. People often describe being less judgmental, more patient, and more interested in how they live rather than what they accomplish. This can sometimes lead to major life changes, such as leaving high-pressure jobs, repairing broken relationships, or dedicating time to helping others. A strong sense of purpose emerges. Many feel they were sent back for a reason, whether to raise their children, share their experience, help others heal, or fulfill an inner calling they previously ignored. This can lead to entirely new career paths or personal missions. Some become writers, counselors, volunteers, or speakers, not out of ego, but from a deep sense of service. New abilities or sensitivities sometimes appear. Some NDEs report a sudden increase in intuition, empathy, or even psychic phenomena. These can include sensing people's emotions more clearly, vivid dreams, precognitive insights, or heightened energy sensitivity. While not universal, these shifts are often seen as side effects of having touched the other side. Creativity often flourishes. After an NDE, many individuals feel a strong urge to express themselves through music, art, writing, or other creative outlets. These expressions are often spiritual in nature, or focused on sharing the beauty and truth they encountered. Creativity becomes a means of integration, a way to make sense of what they experienced and offer it to others. The integration process can be difficult and take time. Not all changes are easy. Some people feel isolated because others don't understand what they went through. There can be challenges in returning to everyday life after such a profound shift in consciousness. Some experience depression, disorientation, or a sense of disconnection from the world they once knew. For this reason, many seek out NDE support groups or communities of like-minded people to help ground and process their experience. Ultimately, most NDEs say the experience makes them better humans, more open-hearted, compassionate, and aware. They may live more simply, more consciously, and more in alignment with love and truth. While the path forward is not always easy, it is often described as more real, more aligned, and more meaningful than before.